An Ode to Bert. An Ode to Bert, Judy Marshall.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and esteemed guest. He was tall, dark, and handsome. He was a card-carrying member of Mensa. He was funny, hilarious, and he had a sarcastic sense of humor. He was also my husband, but he made absolutely gorgeous-looking children. But God forgot to give him one very important ingredient: common sense. My Bert was just like the Muppets on Sesame Street. You know, Bert and Ernie, rather it was Bert and Judy with a role reversal twist. He was the one with the harebrained schemes, and I was his straight man. I remember back in 1976, I bought my first red convertible, a little Alfa Romeo. I loved that car. I just babied it to death. But after I'd had it a while, I realized I needed to get a new battery for it. So I got the battery, I put it in the rear end of the trunk, and I went home. As I got home, Bert was sauntering out of the house, and he said, "Judy, I need to borrow your Alfa." And I said, "Okay." As I threw him the keys, I said, "But please, I have a battery in the back end of the car. Would you please get it out and put it in the garage before you go?" And I walk in the house. About a week later, I go out to get in the car, and I see this stain on the garage floor. And it's below the trunk area. So I go and I open up the trunk, and sure enough, the battery had tumped over, it had eaten through the carpeting, and it had eaten through the metal onto the garage floor. I was furious. And I thought that night, I just might kill my Bert. But just wanted you to know, back when the Muppets were put on television, it was done purposely so that young children could see that people with very different personalities could learn to get along with one another. Bert and Judy, we were testing out this principle. Another time, Janae, Scott, Kendall, Bert, and I, we went canoeing on the Medina River. We had a great time, and when we got through, we put our canoe up on top of the station wagon. We were driving home on the highway, and all of a sudden, a car in front of us hit a deer and knocked that deer into the ditch. Car in front of us just kept going. But my Bert makes an instant decision, and he decides to get out and see if the deer is dead. Yeah, deer's dead, deader than a doornail. So my Bert goes over and gets that deer and picks it up and takes it over and stuffs it into the back end of the station wagon. The three of us girls get in the middle seat, and Scott goes up front and sits with his dad. Probably about 30 minutes from getting home to Dallas, Kendall, my youngest daughter, says, "Mom, I've got something on my leg," and she's scratching it. I look at it, and then I look at Janae, and I look at myself, and we're covered in ticks. We were extremely lucky not to have gotten Lyme's disease. But my Bert, he got his quota of deer meat for the freezer that day. It gets worse from here. My two oldest children wore braces. And it just happened to be my Bert's turn to take them to the orthodontist. So he gets in his Jimmy and he backs it out of the driveway and then he tries to get it in first gear and it won't even go. Does that deter him at all? Absolutely not. So he gets the two kids in the car and then he proceeds to back up 15 miles to get to the orthodontist on time. 2 major streets he has to go across. The worst part of the story is that I go to church on Sunday, and I had 2 friends come up to me and say, Judy, why was Bert driving backwards on Arapahoe Road? I didn't know. And he had made the kids promise not to tell me. What can I say? He was a little different, very unpredictable. But my kids loved him unconditionally. And you ask, what happened? Well, I lost my sense of humor. And I lost my patience. But this great sage once said to me, Judy, you're bound to have some patience because you've never used any of it. It is with sadness that I tell you that my children's bird passed away last month. We never knew what he was going to do. He was very unpredictable. But he was loved by all of us. So Bert, this ode, this eulogy is for you. You're going to be sorely missed. But God, you're going to regret not having given your Bert some oh, God screwed it up. Common sense, that's right.
Yep.
Damn.